So yeah, so Joe Plays Games posted a fan theory, the Illuminate, the Wormhole, and the future of Helldivers 2. And let's see what they say. I didn't watch this video. People in chat already watched it. They kind of told me what it was about. It sounds interesting. Let's give it a watch.
So the Illuminate are back, and they didn't come out of the wormhole like we all thought they would. This damn thing has been playing their theme since June, and then those squid aliens just slip in from the south, steal our citizens, and...
Did they not come in from the wormhole? What is the lore? I thought they came from the wormhole. Did they not? I thought that they did. Wasn't there a dispatch about, like, activity near the wormhole before Illuminate dropped?
And then set up their filthy pagan monoliths all over our planets. But why? Why bother creating the voteless? What do these towers even...
It's heavily implied. Yeah, I thought it was heavily implied. Let's take a look. Missing for almost a century, the Illuminate will challenge our recruits. They're advanced, highly intelligent beings, wielding powerful technology. At the end of the First Galactic War... Oh, here we go. Now the Illuminate have emerged seemingly out of nowhere. We don't know the true origin of the invasion. We have no choice now but to suppress 3 factions in the Galactic War. Okay, so it's not confirmed where they came from. I think this does confirm it's not from the black hole, though. Because it's saying we don't know the origin. I think if they came out of the black hole, we would know the origin. Maybe, I think the Illuminate didn't come from the black hole, but they may be trying to open it to bring the full invasion. All right, let's see. Let's see the rest of the video. I think they didn't come from the black hole. That's what it seems like. I could be wrong. We could all be wrong. All of us. We'll all eat the L together, right, chat?
Even do. And is that wormhole ever going to pay off? Buckle up, kids and squids, because not only is there an answer to all of these questions, but I actually think the evidence stacks up to show that Helldivers 2 and the Helldivers universe itself is about to take a huge turn for the sci-fi that no one saw coming. Obey my cat! Hit the subscribe button.
I'll share the video after we're done reacting.
Now in Helldivers 2, we have to know the history of their race and the events that played out leading to their eventual defeat in the First Galactic War. Long before that damn fish crawled out of Earth's primordial soup that would eventually lead to us having to pay space taxes, the Illuminate were already an advanced and developing species.
Multiverse
they
plot.
have millennia's worth of a jump on humans at the whole existing thing, and they conquered the Milky Way over time and reigned more or less supreme as the dominant sentient species of the galaxy. The Illuminate, whose name for themselves is the Squith, made gargantuan developments in energy and electrical-based technology and also in artificial intelligence. Eventually, their society developed to the point where their entire species was overseen by an artificial entity known as the Great Eye, with a council of the most intelligent and enlightened of their species disseminating the will of the Great Eye to the rest of their people. Their society was very rigid and in a lot of ways mirrored the culture.
By the way, wasn't that Great Eye the raid boss in Helldivers 1? So maybe we'll get to fight the Great Eye again.
Of humanity united together under the banner of Super Earth. Helldivers 1 lore refers to the Great Eye as monitoring the Illuminate people for any signs of what would essentially be behavior or thought crimes in their society. Back on planet Earth, as humans developed, it became clear that we were having a pretty rocky start. Human history and our major wars in real life all exist in the Helldivers timeline. Somewhere between the year 2015 and 2044, Earth had a massive war that involved a global exchange of nuclear weapons, and parts of Russia, Alaska, Canada, and the entire United Kingdom were rendered completely uninhabitable. The citizens of Earth began to rebuild from the remnants of this war and created a new unified population with concentrated pockets of area where people lived, known as megacities. These survivors of the last Great War...
Yeah, true. Elon's not a squid. He's clearly a cyborg.
Came together to form a single world government, and thus Super Earth was born. Sometime after this last great human war, but before the year 2044, the Illuminate made first contact with the humans of Super Earth and offered their friendship and cooperation. It's unclear if humanity or even just the leaders of Super Earth were aware that the Illuminate had been surveilling.
Dude, look at the purifier shots getting stuck in the bushes.
our species before approaching us, but it's not entirely unlikely that the Illuminate had seen humans as having passed a great filter by not completely annihilating themselves in nuclear war, and even more hopeful, were able to come together and unite as an entire people. Humans and the Squiff enjoyed an unknown amount of time in harmony, but somewhere along the lines the relationship soured. Super Earth accused the Illuminate of having bombs capable of destroying entire planets with a single weapon deployment, and obviously found this to be a potential immediate threat. They launched an initial attack in self-defense in the year 2044, and the Illuminate and Super Earth officially found themselves at two opposing sides of the First Galactic War. For 40 years the war raged on, and the Illuminate proved themselves to be a terrible and deadly opponent on the battlefield. Largely this was thanks to their incredible technological superiority, but in the end, liberty, freedom, and the valor of the SEAF Helldivers won the day, safeguarding.
All right, listen, we're listening to lore, right? So I'm just letting it play because I got no comments on the lore, but fucking your guys' comments. Mark Zuckerberg, on the other hand, might be a squid. Dude already doesn't look human.
The future of managed democracy, despite the Illuminate's impressive array of weapons in their arsenal that we see them deploy even to this very day in the ongoing Second Galactic War. Energy shields, deadly electric weapons that automatically fire only when an enemy is in proximity, literal UFOs, the Illuminate are well armed and able.
Dude, the UFOs are still so cool to this day. They're so cool, especially watching them get shot down.
To cut through our defenses pretty easily, even though we have stratagems and weapons at our disposal that mimic their own. Did you ever notice that? The personal energy shield backpack is similar to the shield that protects the Illuminate harvesters. The guns the Overseers fire look like they shoot projectiles, not completely unlike the Plasma and Scorcher and the Punisher plasma. Our arc throwers and Tesla towers
Do you think the jetpack dudes have loyalists?
Are pretty obviously a one-to-one copy of the Illuminate Tesla Tower, and there's a reason for that. No, not lazy game design. At the end of the First Galactic War, when humanity triumphed over the squid aggressors, we forced the Illuminate to sign a treaty. In exchange for not wiping their entire race off the face of the galaxy, Super Earth demanded that the advanced species hand over all their technology that could have any military applications.
Wait, was this before Helldivers 1 that they signed a treaty? Does anyone know? Because I actually didn't know about this little tidbit.
Method of FTL travel, shields, weapons, even things like...
I thought FTL travel comes from the bugs, because that's how the bugs go from planet to planet with the spores. I thought we wiped the Illuminate off the map. I thought after HD1, the Illuminate are just completely wiped out, obviously until HD2.
The dark fluid that we use to destroy the planet Meridia, which has resulted in the developing wormhole in that sector of space. Once the Illuminate complied with Super Earth's demands, we have two different versions of history point blank told.
Oh, we got the engines from the squid, okay.
Everyone knows the Illuminate were wiped out after the First Galactic War. The official records state it very clearly.
Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. The official records say they got wiped out, so when was this treaty?
Say, at the end of the war, the Illuminate were absolutely 100% destroyed. How can something survive being 100% destroyed?
History matters. At the end of the First Galactic War, we magnanimously allowed the Illuminate to flee the galaxy. Now, they're back.
Okay, so official records. Okay, I got you. Because, yeah, here's like a different NPC voiceover. The Ministry of Truth wouldn't lie.
Why? Because they hate peace.
So, which is it? How do these two pieces of information and what we're seeing in the environments and mission in Helldivers 2 itself reconcile with each other? The reality is, most likely, both statements are true.
Also, to be fair, we had the Scorcher in the first game, so they clearly had Illuminate tech before the first game.
Their own way. Remember, the Illuminate was a race that seems to have been controlled by...
I feel like the lore is a little bit weird. Like, did we steal the tech? Was it a treaty? I think we stole the tech.
An advanced, true...
I think the treaty is a lie.
...artificial intelligence called the Great Eye. So it's entirely possible that the organic life forms of the Illuminate race were completely destroyed during the war. Helldivers of the First Galactic War, after all, did even fight the prestigious...
Send me a link to that, I less than 3FGC. And all that was left behind
was the advanced AI to discuss the terms of surrender. If that is what happened, after turning over all the information it had pertaining to Illuminate technology, Super Earth may have allowed this last vestige of the Illuminate society society to leave the galaxy, presuming it's certainly offenseless and probably defenseless too without an army to its command. This AI left the galaxy and began its work resuscitating the squith species through genetic engineering. Let's skip ahead to the current galactic war of Helldivers 2. What we see of the Illuminate now is a paltry number of organic squith, with a slightly higher number of roaming AI robots, and the bulk of their forces being...
Yeah, I think what Bag and Scalpel said, I think it was implied the tech in HG1 was pinched, since you'd get the laser/energy shield strats from planetary rewards, which is true. Yeah, you got... When you would do an operation on a planet, that's how you would unlock your upgrades. The treaty was confirmed in the first game if you managed to win a galactic war, if I remember correctly. So I guess it's like the multiple endings thing, because they always restarted the galactic war.
Being made up of the new entity called the voteless. And this is where it's demonstrated to us that the Illuminate do in fact have sophisticated knowledge of genetic manipulation. The voteless are humans that have been abducted by the Illuminate, and the information we get in the game tells us that they've been quote-unquote mind controlled into what are effectively zombies devoid of freedom or their ability to vote. But when you see the voteless in game, it's incredibly clear that this isn't a simple mind control tactic. Their eyes glow blue, the same as...
Bro, can we talk about how pissed the Illuminate are too? Like in the first war, they were like just fighting us, right? Because we stole their technology and we were fighting them. But like when they returned, they were like, okay, destroy all humans. And they fucking turned us into zombies. Like they seem so much more like they're out for blood. They're out for blood this time.
The actual Illuminate overseers. Their skin is beginning to take on the same dark purple that the skin under the carapace armor of the overseers seemed to be. The faces of the voteless themselves have been twisted and mutated, some obviously either taking to the process much better or developing faster than the others, and taking on actual squid-like features. When you shoot them, the blood that comes out of the voteless is bright blue. These people haven't just been subjected to a form of mind control, their actual biological makeup has been tampered with, which is a really strange choice and a much more intensive process to dealing with your enemy. P.S. Since I began writing this script, we've actually gotten confirmation.
Chat, look at that W team play. Charged arc thrower, teammates in front of you, not shooting, guys. Not, notice that. That was W team play right there. Because I know some of you motherfuckers would just blast right there in that situation.
That genetic manipulation is exactly what's happening in the game itself. Abducting citizens, whisking them away, and subjecting them to whatever tampering process that also forces their physiology to express squith-like qualities is a much bigger investment in time and resources than, say, dropping a bunch of harvesters that shoot literal insta-kill death beams onto a city and just laying it to waste in a surprise attack. There have been some theories out there that the voteless are meant to help repopulate the Illuminate species, creating a new version of themselves as alien-human hybrids, or at the very least to bulk up their numbers for war.
I would never do that, Lab.
We can pretty solidly debunk this theory because the amount of voteless that we see alive is nothing compared to the amount of bodies that the Illuminate monoliths are built on top of. The Illuminate also have a religious cult component to their culture, one that we don't understand if it's technologically based or actually involves something we would understand to be magic. For those probably cult-based reasons we don't fully understand, the voteless seem to be almost a kind of sacrifice that has to do with the monoliths. Being capable of melee combat is probably a secondary desired outcome to whatever purpose the voteless serve in conjunction with these monoliths. These towers, even though at first they don't seem like they do anything, are actually extremely important. They have everything to do with the Illuminate's current mission. The Squid Menace isn't actively at war with us, not yet. They're using these monoliths to force open the Meridia wormhole. Just in case you happen to not been playing at the time and missed it, the planet Meridia was destroyed by use of the mysterious dark fluid in order to stop a Terminid super colony from developing further on the planet. When the dark fluid was deployed, the planet ripped apart and a black hole was created, making all the super destroyers in the vicinity emergency jump away. Ever since, if you visit the Meridia sector, you'll find a void in space that has this strange sound emanating from it. The Abyss was created on June 2nd, 2184, or 2024, and out of...
Are they going to show the monolith noises? So they're saying the monoliths are trying to interact with the wormholes, I guess? I thought the monoliths are turning people to zombies?
Game terms, and for the longest time it just sat there, menacingly. But mere days after the Illuminate first made themselves known and began their cowardly attacks, the black hole began to change. It's now emanating a much brighter purple light, now with a vivid blue included, and this change is in response to the monoliths that have been constructed by the Illuminate on the planets they're occupying.
Yeah, and when you touch it, you die.
These monoliths make the same sound that we hear coming out of the Meridia singularity. The Illuminate have been abducting citizens to turn them into sacrifices for their bizarre structures that are somehow communicating with and or forcing open the wormhole.
Was that a thing in the first game too, where the Illuminate would do sacrifices?
It's all part of their plan for revenge that they've been brewing for the last 100 years. Yep, the Illuminate are behind everything. Alright, so I know I'm about to get told to face the wall, but I do need to address the very likely scenario that Super Earth hasn't been completely forthcoming about exactly where the dark fluid came from.
This is treason, guys. This is treason. They said Super Earth isn't being forthcoming, guys. That's treason.
You know, it was
Illuminate and HC1 were squeaky clean. They were more of sci-fi technology rather than the occult. I mean, they're doing some occultish type of stuff in Helldivers 2 for sure. They had slaves.
100% for sure of Illuminate origin, but what we've been told is that it was found on an Illuminate planet after the First Galactic War. However, Super Earth hasn't ever admitted that the majority of technology they've developed or iterated on after the Illuminate surrender was in fact turned over by them. This dark fluid material likely wasn't stumbled upon by accident, but instead intentionally turned over by the Illuminate, and they would have known exactly what they were handing to Super Earth. Remember,
ooh, I like that theory. I like that theory. They gave Super Earth the dark matter on purpose because they knew like what it would create or something. That's a cool theory. I like that.
Alien humans before first contact was fully initiated. The Illuminate also spent 40 years fighting humans in a vicious war, as well as observing their behavior in a war on 2 other fronts against the bugs and the cyborgs. As a super intelligent race that values knowledge, they would have been recording, calculating, and drawing conclusions based on these observations. The point I'm driving at here is that the Illuminate gave Super Earth the dark fluid on purpose. They knew exactly what it was and that humans wouldn't be able to resist using such a powerful tool if they felt they had an opportunity and a reason to deploy it. So the dark fluid was delivered, and the Illuminate disappeared for the last 100 years to work on rebuilding their species, biding their time. After 100 years of waiting, the Illuminate set out to stir the pot, putting into motion the events that started the Second Galactic War. If you remember, Helldivers 2 starts with the Terminids breaking free of designated farmland and science facilities where they were being studied and harvested for the fuel Super Earth uses for faster than light travel, called Element 710. At the same time, the automatons showed up in force, with the collective of Cyberstan claiming that they have the right to defend their home, but at the end of the First Galactic War, from everything we know, Cyberstan was well secured under Super Earth's control. There have been a myriad of sightings throughout the course of Helldivers, with players finding signs of Illuminate activity on planets controlled both by automatons and Terminids. The
Yo, what were those blue beams? I remember the blue beam theories. I'd never seen this one.
The Illuminate have been pulling the strings behind the scenes to either make the Second Galactic War happen or to make the situation worse for humanity, forcing a reason for them to deploy that dark fluid. Once the black hole opened, everyone suspected that's how the Illuminate were going to show up into the game. After all, it emits a sound similar to the ambient theme music of the Illuminate of Helldivers 2. But there it sat for months upon months, with the Illuminate eventually slipping into the Galactic War map from the south. So what the hell? Does the whole black hole thing just not pay off? Nah, far from it. The Illuminate we're fighting now are calling in their reinforcements from the other side of that wormhole.
This loadout is based. Senator, Dominator, Autocannon. This loadout is actually based. I'm going to run this later. I mean, against the squids with all the voteless, it's not that great. But like, dude, fire impacts. They're using frags. I would use fire impacts.
A bit of meta information. Helldivers 2 game director Mikael Eriksson did an interview with IGN and said that this first engagement with the Illuminate is a vanguard fleet. We aren't seeing the Illuminate at full strength. In fact, they won't even be capturing planets, and they're purely in a hit and run mode scheme. So of course, we're all expecting the true might of these aliens.
It's really interesting how they did the Illuminate like that, because and now the DSS is back. The DSS doesn't really interact with the Illuminate major order-wise, because they don't attack from planets. There's no liberation campaigns. I guess the Eagle Storm does. Doesn't it halt a defense timer? That's about it.
Will come through that wormhole. Many Helldivers think that the wormhole will lead to another planet in some far, far off region of space. Others think that perhaps the wormhole on the other side opens to a time in the past before the Illuminate were defeated. Both are very, very solid theories, but there's another option that no one's really talked about or considered that we have a fair amount of smoking gun evidence for. The wormhole opens to another timeline in the Helldivers universe.
Oh, God.
One where the Illuminate won the first galactic war.
Multiverse string theory. Chat, you don't think they're gonna do multiverse, do you? Chat, put ones or twos in chat. Put a 1 if you're fine with the multiverse theory. Put a 2 if you don't want the multiverse theory. So it makes sense because of how Helldivers 1 went, and because they always restarted the galactic wars, and you could lose in Helldivers 1. The community could literally lose. So there literally are, and also every mission is canon, right? So it actually could make sense. It actually could make sense. Because you can lose the galactic war. Like in Helldivers 2, we haven't had to defend Super Earth yet. So in the first game, when they would attack Super Earth, if you lost that defense, the game's over. You lose. And then they would restart the galactic war. I think we're going to another galaxy, like with hints from the bots. So it could just be another galaxy. They might be onto something. It just might not be multiverse. It could just be a different galaxy. I mean, a wormhole's got to go somewhere, right? So it could just be another galaxy. Dude, what if we get a new galactic map? That would be crazy. I've seen enough multiverse stories. Yeah, I feel like a lot of people aren't a big fan of multiverse stuff. So what if it just goes to another galaxy? That would be cool. And then there's like a new... Bro, what if there's a new galactic map coming? That would be crazy. They should be trapped on the other side of the hole and then they break free. Yeah, it could just be another galaxy. That would also make sense, and that would tie into this theory perfectly. Just instead of a multiverse, it's just a different galaxy where the Illuminate were expelled to. That could make sense as well. Wormhole leads to Andromeda. A new map would be amazing. Yeah, that would be really cool too, like a whole new map. We haven't even played on half the planets in the current map. Yeah, but this is going to be way down the line. Like, it's not like, let's say the Illuminate do open the black hole and the whole faction comes out. We would do that whole storyline. We still got to do Gloom. We still got to do Cyberstan. By the time we get a new map, it probably wouldn't even be this year, I would bet. If we get a new map. It would be cool, but it wouldn't mean anything. Yeah, but nothing means anything, Lawler. Don't you? Nothing means anything, bro. We're just here in this world, and nothing means anything. Okay? It is what it is. It's just all entertainment. I like them sometimes, but yeah, just have it as something the Illuminate homeworld. The Jet Brigade story isn't wrapped up yet, pretty sure. Bro, the Jet Brigade's thing was so funny. Life has no meaning. Get that nihilism out of here. We go on the offensive to go after the automaton ship factories in the other galaxy. Yeah, dude, the automatons. Remember when we expelled them? They also came from the north. They also came from another galaxy. So I actually do think it's another galaxy. I don't think it's a multiverse. I think that what's their name? Joe plays games. I'm gonna subscribe, by the way. I'll share the video after we're done reacting. You guys should go subscribe because this is actually cool. I think Joe is really onto something here. I just think it's not a multiverse. I'm starting to think it's another galaxy.
I know, I need to face the wall. This is treason. I'm reaching. I've heard it all before.
Face
Hear
the
me
wall.
out. There's one very compelling story reason why this wormhole would open to an alternate timeline where Super Earth lost the first galactic war and the Illuminate instead won. And that's because it makes both potential endings of Helldivers 1 canon. Helldivers is a really unique franchise.
Yeah, I get where they're going at with this. My only question is, would they do a multiverse? Would they do a multiverse? Because I feel like the Helldivers devs do know kind of pop culture in the sense that they do know that not everyone likes multiverse storylines anymore. Like, I feel like Avengers Endgame was the last good multiverse storyline. Even Doctor Strange 2 was a good movie, but Helldivers Far From Home. Yeah, like, dude, everyone's had enough of the multiverse, I feel like. I don't know. The Cat and Asman moment.
Franchise. The outcome of each campaign is shaped by the players themselves, dictated by their involvement and how well we coordinate on a mass player scale, and the major orders and storylines are informed by the conversations we have with each other within the community. Not only is this insanely cool and unlike any other video game I've ever played, it's difficult to pull off on the developer's end, and it also means you have to be really careful to not just outright invalidate the input of your fan base. This has been true since Helldivers 1. In Helldivers 1, the first galactic war was played multiple times over. Each time the war itself was either won or lost, the map was reset and a new version of the first galactic war began. That's why having the wormhole open to a different timeline makes so much sense. There is already a Helldivers multiverse that was created by the very nature of how Helldivers 1 was played. Creating a situation in Helldivers 2 that makes both potential endings of Helldivers 1 canon honors all the player input over the years that fans contributed to the game.
I do think that this is a really good point, and I do think that this does make the multiverse theory hold credence rather than a different galaxy. I would rather it be a different galaxy, and I think a lot of you guys would too, from you guys, what you guys were saying. But it does make sense when you consider the devs have said everything that happens in a game is canon. Like, everything, you know what I mean? And it's that simple. Everything that happens in a game is canon. In Helldivers 1, the community could literally lose the war and it would reset. The community could win the war and then it would reset. They would defeat all the factions. And there were times when, like, they defeated the bugs. The bugs were off the map. Then you had to go kill the bots. The bots were off the map. Then you had to go kill the squids. The squids were off the map, and that's how you win. So I feel like everything that happens in game being canon does make sense. It does make sense. And if they do it right, it could be cool. But like Blaster says, I'm so sick of multiverse stories thanks to MCU. Yeah, like people are sick of multiverse stories, but in Helldivers' specific case, it actually does kind of make sense in my opinion. I don't know. Do you guys disagree? Like, it does make sense though, you know what I mean? Because then everything truly is canon. Because you can lose the war. And we're just in the timeline where we won the war in Helldivers 1.
It makes every galactic war that was fought in the original game matter. Yes, we opened Helldivers 2 with the version that I think everybody can agree we all wanted to see. Super Earth won the first galactic war, but it maintains all the options to revisit the enemies and outcomes of the versions of the first galactic war where Super Earth did not win. Now, aside from the fact that the first Helldivers game itself created a multiverse situation, there's a
No, silly. Modded Skibbity Toilet Helldiver skins are not canon. Okay, those are mods. If they did it, I'd be fine with it. Rather impressed by their constraints with the crossover stuff when they have an easy out with the black hole. What if they open the multiverse and that's how we get crossovers, boys? It's like, everyone would hate that.
lot of inconsistencies within Helldivers 2 that point us to dealing with more than one version of history. The first is that the Super Earth seen in Helldivers 1 by planet geography alone isn't actually planet Earth itself. I mean, check them out side by side. That Helldivers 1 Super Earth is absolutely, without question, not even close to the same Super Earth of Helldivers 2. And
alright, that one's a stretch. Because, like, that's just an art choice, right? That one's a bit of a stretch.
And before you tell me there was a retcon or that the Helldivers 1 Super Earth was always intended to be our real-life planet Earth, but they just didn't have the time or budget or whatever to make the glowbook accurate, losing the first galactic war in Helldivers 1 actually triggers a cutscene that tells you outright that Super Earth is not the real-life planet Earth.
Oh, okay. I was wrong. All right, I'm wrong on that one. Whoa, that's cool. Bro, I didn't play that much Helldivers 1. I think we got like 40 hours in it. That's cool. If you lose the war, they just tell you we have to find a new planet. Could probably help with some questions. Yeah, we'll watch that next.
Earth is what we know as Super Earth in Helldivers 2. The Helldivers 1 and Helldivers 2 Super Earth planets cannot be one and the same, especially not if the timeline that we're currently in for Helldivers 2 ends with Super Earth having won the first galactic war. There's also the fact that Mega City 7 is supposed to be located where we know New York City is, and yet the opening cinematic of Helldivers 2 actually shows us that that region is completely without dense population, and the mega city we see seems to be somewhere in the region of Detroit. Other inconsistencies include non-meta in-universe Super Earth logos and materials depicting things like Earth having the Mediterranean Sea, other times that same sea being missing, and also displaying Super Earth government as having a core of 3 buildings or 4. On top of all that, there's also the color change for the representation of the Illuminate faction. This is weird and always stood out to me once I noticed it on the Helldivers wiki, but now I realize it could totally be indicating to us that we're dealing with 2 completely different versions of the same enemy, like a visual way to signal Universe A and Universe B. In fact, now that the Meridia black hole is really shifting and changing dramatically, we see that not only is there a purple surrounding it as there has been since it was formed, but there's now also a blue color mixed into the swirling around it as well. Instead of any of these inconsistencies just being sloppy misdetails, it very well may be that they were intended to be signals to us that we aren't experiencing a world that has just one true version of history. You know, aside from the whole Super Earth itself can't be trusted to tell the truth thing. So when the rest of the Illuminate do show up, we may be looking at a version of them that actually triumphed over Super Earth and the Helldivers, which is a really frightening prospect. What do you think? I want to hear what you think is on the other
that's
side
cool
of that.
too. See, that's cool too, because if okay, look, I'm starting to get on board with the multiverse theory. Because if it is an Illuminate faction that did beat the Helldivers, then what does their faction look like? Like, how scary are those Illuminate that beat Super Earth in the first Galactic War?
Wormhole, and what will
Arrowhead, no, that was accidental.
see from the Illuminate when the rest finally do show up. Come on by and join our Discord, or drop by a stream to chat theories and lore. Thanks so much for watching, and I hope to see you when I dive in to spread managed democracy and defend freedom. A huge thank you to my supporters.
All right, boys. Good video. I liked it. Even if they're right or wrong about their theory, it was very well put together. I'm going to share the link. Go subscribe. Because that was very well put together, and it had a lot of good lore in it. And I'm sure they'll post more Helldivers lore. Go check it out.